Welcome to another Bandology interview. Bandology is a Canadian nonprofit dedicated to more music for more kids via education, collaboration, and community.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to a very special wrap-up episode of What's Your Forte? Today, we are going to sort of wrap up the year from Bandology, talk about everything we've done this year, our favorite bits, and sort of get to celebrate all the stuff that we've gotten to do this year. As always, I'm Sandy Wright, the Education Manager and Head of Programming at Bandology, and today I have with me Ryan.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ryan. I'm the Community Programs Manager at Bandology, and I'm really excited for this episode.
Yes. Ryan has been bugging me to do a joint podcast together for a year. And we've been on hiatus for most of this year, but now that we're back, this is, I thought, a perfect opportunity to sort of get together, talk about all our programming and the things that we've done this year, because that's what Ryan and I do together most of the year, is figure out how we're going to do workshops, when we're going to do workshops, how camp's going to go, and figure out how to survive camp. And
Staffing workshops.
We do a lot. Basically, if it's a thing that we come to you or you come to us and do music, that's us. And over the summer, we obviously had other people and come and do stuff, including our wonderful camp and workshop coordinator, Sara Thoeny, who has helped us grow and develop this program also. And I want to give her a special shout out because I don't think it would be complete without mentioning her.
Yeah.
So I think the first thing we should talk about is maybe our biggest program in terms of just like scale and complexity. And that's our band camps. For those of you who don't know, we do 4 camps throughout the year. We do a March break music camp with the Laurier Academy of Music and Arts. We do 3 band camps at 3 different locations, and there are 2 camps sort of running simultaneously at each of those locations. We have a band camp and band camp junior program. Band camp is for, teenagers, kids grades 7 to 12 who play instruments in school. It's sort of a traditional band camp. And then band camp junior is a more general music program for kids grades 1 to 6 to sort of, explore and learn about what their interest in music doesn't require any experience. And those sort of programs all run over the course of July, basically. And this year we had 3 of them. We had one in Oakville, our Halton Band Camp, which is sort of our largest and busiest band camp. We had our first ever band camp in Guelph, which was awesome, and our first ever official band camp in Kitchener-Waterloo, which has been really cool because that's where I'm from, and it was cool to bring that to, where I live. And Brian, the thing I thought we wanted to talk about that would be fun was, what is your sort of top 3 memories from all those camps?
Yeah, this is a good question. One of them is going to come from March break music camp, because at March break music camp, we have a lot less staff than we do the whole rest of the summer. So like it was basically Sandy and I just running with it.
Yeah.
We had some support staff there, and we had and Lisa was there, and it was good. But basically, it was Sandy and I running stuff and making sure everything was on track. And we went out to Laurier a few times and whatever. But it was just cool in general. So I would say that camp, one of my favorite memories was just like walking from Beckett down to Laurier. And then like going up and down the elevator, and I just think that was awesome. We had all the kids in the elevator at one point. The elevator at Laurier is massive, and when we came down and the doors opened, all of the people that I had gone to school with in percussion were standing outside the elevator, and all the kids just yelled at them. So I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, we're trailing 25 kids under the age of 12, just like screaming at a bunch of really tired young adults. It was definitely, that was definitely funny.
Yeah, that's probably one of them. I would say a few from the summer. The Guelph camp was pretty cool, I think, just in general, because again, it was our first one. So going in, we had never been in the space before. And we just like made everything work, and we all adapted pretty quickly, I think, to what that whole week ended up being. So I think just in general, that was a good memory to have. And then KW, having like a few different drumming things happen. So we had the drum line come in. We had Eric from Centennial come in and do the drumline stuff. And then we had my professor at Laurier, Brennan, come in and he did the sectionals. And then, I did a few drumming things with the kids. So doing all of that. And then I actually also got to participate in the band at the end of the week and perform. So it was cool. It was cool to do all of that. So I would say those were probably my top three things.
I'm struggling to come up with my own. It's really hard to sort of like sum everything up in one time, one sort of single thought for each camp. I think maybe my favorite break, a March break music camp, was getting to go and show the kids some historical instruments that are at the Laurier Academy of Music and Arts, because that's something they had never, there's none of them had ever gotten to see, like instruments from before, like, a piano was really invented, before the clarinet was invented, these kind of like instruments that became other things, and some world instruments in there as well. And those are really cool. And that's stuff I didn't get to see until I was in university at Laurier, because that's when they were available to me. So getting to show people that when they're like young is really awesome. And the kids really enjoyed it as much as it was a half an hour of slight panic, as these kids were allowed to touch a bunch of really old instruments. And the guy showing it to them was very relaxed about it. And I think all of us were like shaking in nerves.
Oh, I was terrified.
Yeah, it was.
He was very calm, and I was just like, oh my God.
Yes. Special shout out to Dan Cabina for being so happy to do that and being so welcoming to all of us. I think that takes, for March break, I think that probably wins, apart from just getting it done, because I went, Laurier Academy of Music and Arts used to be called the Beckett School of Music. And before it was part of Laurier, I went to the Beckett School of Music, and then I went to Laurier. So it was kind of cool for me to have that camp there, because it's sort of like together is my whole like first part of my musical journey, which is really exciting. I think KW was probably the one that stands out the most. I think there was a moment when the kids just started ridiculing me for personality quirks that I didn't know I had. And I think that probably is it's a good feeling when kids make fun of you, as much as it maybe hits insecurities you don't know you have. But it was really cool. I think the kids there really built like a really strong, they all did, but especially there built a strong community. And also I live in Kitchener-Waterloo. So I had students at camp, and it's always cool to see them in a non-piano lesson context, because A, they have a lot more energy, but B, it's also a way to like connect and help them, expose them to stuff that I can't do in a half-hour piano lesson during the sort of year. So that's always really cool. And then I think at Halton, we did this for the first time, is we have a collection of like starter instruments made by Nouveau, which are like fake clarinets and fake flutes called toots and dudes. And then we have some plastic P-bones and P-trumpets, plastic trombones and trumpets. And that was probably getting to have them try every single one and play an instrument play a wind instrument kind of for the first time for any of them was really, really cool. And it was probably went the smoothest at Oakville. The other time it got a little chaotic for the other ones, but it was definitely felt good. And the most amusing part of that is a kid fell asleep during the middle of that, just completely passed out, napping, while 3 feet away someone's blasting a trombone basically in their face, and they're just completely zonked and unconscious. And I thought that was very funny. Wow. But yeah, those are probably my top 3 things.
Nice. I think the next thing that we're going to talk about is similarly, top workshop memories from over the course of the year. This year we did a ridiculous amount of workshops. There were so many at various different places.
I think we did 147.
Yeah. No, there you go. 147 workshops they were all like various different, maybe community events, maybe at schools, maybe at other camps, a couple birthday parties. I feel like I'm missing other names, but various versions of that. So what, Sandy, do you have any top workshop memories? Even just like one or two?
Yeah, I think I'm trying to remember. I think when you and I went to Rotherglen, which is a school in Mississauga, we were in Mississauga. They're really great. They've invited us a few times and it's always been really wonderful. I think that was one of my favorites. It was the first time I'd ever run a drumline workshop. And I sort of I'd read our curriculum and I'd done it, but I got to watch you do it. And then I did the next one. And it was very cool to sort of experience that for the first time. And it was also fun because you and I don't generally get to do workshops together because generally we have to split up so that neither of us get overloaded with the amount of workshops that we're doing. So it's cool to like actually team up for that one.
Yeah.
And that was
like the beginning of the year too.
Yeah, that was like January.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Nice.
the other one that I have is probably we did a workshop this year with the Halton Down Syndrome Association. We did a couple with their like young kids and then with their slightly older, like 8 to 12-year-olds. And that was really fun. And getting to like go to Milton and sort of work with that energy, and like parents were there and like participating and like sharing with their kids. And it was really awesome to sort of like be there. And Sarah came out for that one as well. And it was nice because the three of us never get to do workshops together, all three of us. So that was like, again, one of those cool like things where we got to completely do something that we'd never done before and, you know, bring more music to more kids.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I would say mine, I have two just that I can think of immediately. One is just Adventure Valley in general. We did this camp, Adventure Valley, over the course of August. It was 3 days a week I think we were there for 7 hours. It wasn't 7 hours of straight workshops, but we were there for 7 hours a day for 3 days.
The whole day.
The whole day. Yeah. And we had a team of maybe 6 of us, I think total, that were basically just on rotation. And just like the way that like we set that up the first week of Adventure Valley, and then we were just very efficient with it for the remainder of the month. And like no one complained about, you know, if somebody couldn't do this day, then somebody was able to fill in. So I think just that whole system that we had set up was pretty good.
That was definitely the peak of our efficiency and organization with workshops, which is good because we applied the lessons we learned sort of throughout the year. Because that was definitely the highest amount of workshop workload we had in sort of a set amount of time.
Yeah, definitely. Then the other one, another just really easy one was Suzuki.
Yeah,
I went in and did our first Suzuki workshop during our week of Halton band camp. So it was very hectic of me like running at band camp, doing all that stuff, and then running to Suzuki's workshop and then coming back to band camp. Yeah. So yeah, that whole thing. But then I did the drumline version of the workshops there, and getting all of those kids to play all the various different drumline instruments, teaching them, you know, 2 or 3 different exercises throughout the week. And then by the end of the week, performing basically a song that I arranged was pretty awesome, you know. And I the way I had written it, I was totally like, I don't know if they're going to be able to do this. And then they did. And it was pretty awesome to watch them all do it. And we recorded it on our phones and, you know, all that stuff. So yeah, I would say that was the other one that was pretty fulfilling.
Yeah. Suzuki's all string players, right? So mostly. So it's like hard to like, they've never dealt with percussion instruments in that way. So didn't know how they would take to it. And anytime you go into a group, especially with a long-term workshop, you can have a plan, and we're pretty good at planning and we have a lot of experience in developing this stuff. But there's always that moment of, if I get a group that isn't going to be able to do this, how am I going to adjust? Or if I get a group that's way better than this, how am I going to adjust? And that's always cool when that actually works out and you've predicted correctly and it feels very like good. Yeah, that's really fun. I think Yeah, I think over the course of the year, I think we served almost over 2,300 people. I think we had 2,300 participants over the course of our 147-ish workshops, which is amazing.
Crazy.
Yeah. We also
Yeah.
had 82 band campers, I think, overall.
That's also
82 band
crazy.
campers. Yeah. Yeah. How many music? Wait, can I do this number? Can I get the music mentor number? We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We had 10,
Nice.
I think. I think we had 10 music mentors over the course of the thing, which are like older teenagers who volunteer at our camps to sort of support us. They're sort of like counselors in training, but they participate a lot more in the activities. Like they're in the band, they'll perform on stage with the kids, that kind of thing. And Ryan does like some leadership training with them as well, because he has a lot of experience with, being a camp counselor prior to coming to Bandology, and has designed his own counselor and training program when he was there, and has been generous enough to share that with us and do that kind of stuff. But that was super fun. I think now we're going to welcome our executive director, Lisa Michaels, to come in and ask us some questions that she has for us that she hasn't prepared me for, which makes me nervous. But I'd like to welcome Lisa.
Thanks, Sandy. Thanks, Ryan. I'm all about music. I have 3 kids and they all played saxophone. So if you ever want to know how to fit 4 people in a Barry sax and a hatchback, I'm your girl. So guys, let me ask you, yes, you're all multi-instrumentalists, but what other instrument do you wish you could play?
That's a good question, because drums and percussion are the best instruments. So,
well,
I don't know.
Well,
I knew Sandy was going to say that. I don't know. Maybe like violin for no particular reason other than I like the way strings sound. So
yeah, I think one of my usual answers for that is like cello, which is sort of, a big violin on its side. Every cellist will murder me for saying that. But I think in a more practical way, probably saxophone, because it's close to like clarinet, which is another instrument I already play, and it would be really useful for me to know how to do both.
Yeah, that's what I wish I'd played. I played clarinet in band, but if I played saxophone, I could have been in the jazz band. It's like,
I wanted to play saxophone, but there were too many saxophones, and my music teacher was like, clarinet's basically the same thing. And then that defined my life path for the next 10 years.
Yeah. When I started playing, I was in middle school and we didn't have instrumental, but the high school came in and did the after school program. And I found out about it late. And so I signed up late and you get what instrument you get. And that's how I played it for 6 years. So, yeah. So speaking of instruments, we have an amazing musical instrument lending library. In fact, recently we received a donation of a violin, Ryan, just saying, if you wanted to try it out. And so we use our instrument lending library to loan it out to students who are keen musicians, but whose family maybe is having some financial struggles, can't have an instrument at home to rent, or just maybe can't get a giant tuba home on public transportation. So in our instrument lending library, what would be your favorite instrument?
Well, I actually happen to have 3 of them sitting in my basement right here. So probably I'm going to go with the vibraphone that we have right now. It's been pretty cool. And I don't know, it's just cool that we have a whole bunch of the mallet percussion instruments, but the vibraphone particularly is pretty awesome, because you got that whole pedal system where you can let the pedal down and it rings out. And yeah, they're cool to have.
Okay, note to listeners, they can come out of Ryan's basement. They're just there for convenience right now, and to make sure that they sound good.
Yes, exactly.
This one's hard because I don't play percussion instruments. There's like 100 of them, so Ryan can pick a bunch of things that he can like knows how to play. But honestly, I think the coolest thing that I think we have is probably like a bass clarinet, because, and I guess also like a Barry sax would fall under that, but those are not easy instruments to like find, and decent ones are also hard to find. It's like difficult to like, when I was in school, our bass clarinet in my high school sucked, and we weren't a school that was like struggling to find instruments. So it's cool that we have like one that actually works and is nice to play, and can help someone actually learn how to do it properly, because it's a very specific kind of thing versus a normal clarinet, and it's a important sort of, again, variety of things you should probably learn to like be able to be like a musician.
Hmm. Yeah, you need all those low notes in a good band.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I will say when I was unboxing the berry sax, it was very cool. I had never like held one or done anything with any
It's
saxophone
huge.
really, and it was very cool.
It's big.
It's huge and heavy, and yeah, there's
Yeah.
a lot of metal in that.
Yeah.
All right, next question. So at our band camps, whether they're March break or in the summer, our junior kids, the younger kids, do compose their own songs. And they do a great job of it. But then they also name the songs. And the names have been interesting, to say the least. So what is your favorite song title from our junior composers?
Mine is the Sad Sandy song. Just because it was really funny the way that whole thing came up. I don't know why they think you're sad
I don't
or
either.
you were sad, but yeah, that was very funny when they were like, they all screamed it when they picked the name. They all knew what they wanted, and it was the Sad Sandy song.
Yeah. I think that's the one that definitely sticks the most in my head. And it's nice when the campers want to torture you, because it shows that they are having fun. But I also I don't know what energy I was giving off during that morning, if I was just really tired, but I don't. It was somewhat of a jarring shock to stand in front of a room and have a bunch of 8 to 12-year-olds scream "Sad Sandy" song in your face on a Wednesday morning. That was weird, but it was definitely got the biggest laugh of all the titles over the course of like our 3 band camp weeks.
Yeah. I'm going to chip in and go back to last year because my son was actually a mentor. And so the song, I don't remember what the title was, but it had something to do with Stephen the Seagull in Sawyer's House of Fun. So
Yes, it
Sawyer's
was
House
that.
of Fun was pretty hilarious.
Yes.
Okay.
That was a good one.
That was fun. That was also our KW band camp too. So maybe it's just something about being in Waterloo region that they're like, we're going to pick one of this team and just make fun of them.
Good point. Good point. Okay, this is a big controversial one, and thank goodness you're on Zoom and there's no fisticuffs that could ensue, but who is the better bucket drumming instructor?
Oh.
Well, Ryan.
I don't know. This is an interesting question. I want to.
Sorry, is that your answer, or are you deferring to Ryan to go first?
That was my answer.
Oh, that was your answer?
That was my answer. Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Well, now I feel bad. I don't know. This is interesting. I think I have more experience on the instrument, which makes it easier for me to teach. However, I think
a degree in percussion.
Yeah. But I think Sandy is equally, if not better, of a teacher, and I have definitely watched him do bucket drumming workshops, and I have taken things from what he's done, and I've started using them. So yeah. So,
and I've stolen a bunch of things from you, which is good because it means our workshops end up being weirdly consistent when we go out because we've just stolen the best parts. But no, it's always, I really enjoy watching yours because you just have a great energy with the like kids that we tend to work with, and they sort of all immediately latch on to your words, and it's very different than like the vibe I give off when I'm teaching, and it's really very cool to like see the connection that you can make with that like group of kids, which is why also when kids are telling me I'm sad, I worry that I'm maybe not doing as good a job as I want to. I'll be honest.
Well, one thing that can't be beat is Ryan's facial expressions, whether it's here on Zoom or in person, because he communicates through his face very much so.
That's very true. Yes,
that's accurate.
All right, last question. Thinking about Bandology and about band camp, tell me your thoughts in 3 words.
3 words to describe band camp.
You want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
Yeah, I've only got 1.
Well, I only have 2.
Okay, maybe they'll all work together to form 3.
So actually, I have fun, just because that's a classic, but also very loud is one that I would like to describe. And that's like not just the playing the music part is loud. It's just like across the whole week, everyone is loud all the time. And all the like mentors and instructors are also very loud because we have to be.
Yeah, I lose my voice by the end of every single camp week. I'll say that much. I think for me, in the vein of loud, I'd say, and this is a controlled version of this, but like chaos a little bit, because it's sort of the goal is to have them get really excited and try a bunch of different things. But when you let kids play percussion instruments, it just goes a little crazy, in a good way, but it always goes a little crazy. And it's fun to watch, but then the loud part of us trying to wrangle them back into, okay, now we need to go eat lunch, can be the challenge. But I think fun's good. I think probably the word I'd also use is like growth. Because we have kids, especially in the junior group, who come back every single year. We have one student who's come back who was one of our first band camp junior students, and it still has come back every single year since, which is really cool to see them grow from that perspective. But also throughout the week, you see people go from like not knowing music at all to performing like songs and a song that they wrote on stage. And that's a really cool thing to watch. And with the seniors, it's the same thing. They're not a band. They don't really know how to play together. And then by the end of the week, they're playing like pieces that are challenging them and teaching them new things. And a lot of them like learn. I think this year we watched one of the clarinetists that we had in our Guelph band camp. One of the mentors who played clarinet sat down with them and just like they worked together to like teach something and explain how to play something easier or better. And it was really cool to see that sort of like growth, both from the student, but also like the mentor who's like learning to be a teacher. And that's sort of what they want to go into. And it's cool that we get to have opportunities at sort of like every level for that kind of growth. And that's really exciting.
We've also seen now at least once that I can think of a junior band camper come back and become a senior band camper.
Yeah.
Which is pretty
and
cool.
And senior band campers become mentors.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
And actually campers and mentors, become staff. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. Wow. Crazy. Yeah. So growth, definitely. I like that one.
So that's, I think, that progression is, I think, really cool. And something that I know when Ryan and I are like planning band camp and trying to come up with how we're going to approach it, that's something we're always like considering is how we get from A to B and how we encourage that stuff and make it interesting for the kids who come back too, because we don't want it to just be a repeat. And with all our camps next year, we've got stuff planned that's new and exciting, and it's going to be really cool to get to do.
Yeah.
Well, it's fulfilling, isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
To see their faces and see how happy they are, and to hear back from moms and dads about, how things have changed in their lives because they've had this experience at camp.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right, that's all the questions I've got for you. And just while I'm here, I just want to say thanks actually to you guys. Bandology is lucky to have these two awesome guys as our programming sort of leadership team. They don't like to say it, but they, degrees in percussion, degrees in music performance. Sandy might have a couple of masters he keeps tucked away, including in composition and in community music. And whenever they go out and do a workshop, I hear back from our clients to say how amazing that workshop was and how amazing camp was and how, these leaders have been so great. And that goes for all the staff. We've had lovely staff this year. That's 7 years of people. There's been about 32 or 3 staff members come and go at Bandology over the course of 7 years. And so we're looking into 2024 where we'll have more staff and new staff. And that's going to be great. And then, it's been great too, because, we've had donations of instruments to our instrument lending library. We've had donations of cash, and we've had sponsorships, and, just a big thank you to everybody who's been part of the greater Bandology family, because it really takes a complete village, a complete community to make this organization what it is. It's
really cool to see how much we've grown over the last sort of 3 years. And it's exciting to go into like that and hopefully continue that trajectory and get to work with new people and new communities and sort of do the more music for more kids thing as much as we can. Absolutely.
See ya.
Thank you, Lisa, for coming in. Thank you so much for coming in. Those were great questions. Thank you, Lisa, for coming in. Have a great. I'm going to cut that.
Thanks for joining us. If you like what you heard, you can learn more about our organization at bandology.ca, which features information about music education, advocacy and research, and our Play a Gig and Bandcamp programs. Follow us on social media for more videos, performance, and interviews on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.